That's why I always say, the best times to prepare is not after the breach, but before the breach.
Before the breach. Welcome to Season 2 of the Legal Insight Podcast by ASU. This is episode 25 and a very special one indeed, because today, this is actually the third and the final installment of our very special exclusive Malaysia PDPA Authority Series featuring none other than Professor Dr. Nazri, the former PDP Commissioner, the former Personal Data Protection Commissioner. I'm a host, Johnson, the head of Technical Practice Group at Harding Hong & Quack, and I'm joined by our very good-looking, our very brilliant co-head, Kai. So if you're listening to this episode right now and yet you did not listen to the first or the second episode, episodes 23 and 24, I would say that right now, pause and do listen to episode 23 and 24, or otherwise you'll be missing out big time, because we discuss a lot more about the PDP landscape that's happening in Malaysia, the sea change that we're experiencing right now, and also most importantly, the 3 new PDP documents, PDP guidelines, they were just recently published, in which both Kai and I have the honor and privilege of actually be part of the drafting committee. So I would say that go back and listen, because there are a lot of nuggets, a lot of key practical implementation that your company can incorporate, that your company can really comply with. And today, we are certainly leaving the best for the last. Today, we are going to talk a lot more about data breach notification requirements, something that, to be honest, something that I'm actually very passionate about. Because a lot of time there is a very strict timeline for the companies to follow, and then you have to work with multiple parties. You have to work together with the directors, work together with the forensic team, together with the data subjects and whatnot. So today, we are extremely honored to have Prof. Nazri and Dr. Kai joining us in this show. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Good to see you both again.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
It's an honor to be sharing alongside Prof. Nazri on personal data protection matters.
So, Prof, let us start something sweet and easy, something more relaxing. So, of course, we do know that 2025, not only Malaysia, globally, we are seeing very major cybersecurity incidents and also personal data breach attack. So, before we actually jump a lot deeper into the whole process, can you let us know from your perspective, what are the trends that you are seeing right now? Are the data breach just pure, very normal ransomware attack, or just insider negligence, or things are getting a lot more complicated now?
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. It is a very challenging question. I would say that the frequency is increasing now. Let me read a report from the websites. The New States Times on 21st of September 2023 reported that Commissioner had received reports 30 cases in entire 2022, whereby until June 2023, there were 130 cases. This shows that a 4-fold increase. Data breach, as reported in Berita Harian on 17th of October 2024, shows that a total of 646 cases in 2023.
Wow, 600.
Again, reading from MyCert. MyCert basically is one of the divisions under CSM. In their websites, and echoed by the Star article on 11th of June 2025, data breach incidents are growing in Malaysia, with a nearly 29% increase in Q1 2025 compared to 2024. The article also says that high-profile breaches often involve personal identifiable information, or PII. And another source of reporting, if I may share, CyberArk 2024 predicted that next year, 2026, it is projected that 60% of all regulated global entities will struggle to comply with ever-increasing data protection and breach.
Yep.
So, to respond to your questions, types of cases, is it ransomware, insider negligence, or maybe scams or other things? So, based on my previous experience, we have certainly handled ransomware cases. It can be categorized into complex case or simple case. But there have also been incidents stemming from insider negligence as well. In fact, in many cases, I would say that due to unintentional mistake, often because of individual will simply share
Mm.
the third-party data and they do not aware that they are violating the PDPA itself. Again, in court, negligence is not an excuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. On personal note, one trend for sure, the organization are now sending more data breach to the Commissioner Office after the amendment of the PDPA Act as compared to the previous version. So I do not have the liberty to comment further since I've left the office. But in general, I would say that it's become more complex and difficult.
Yes, definitely. It's true, to be honest, a lot of times because as a practitioner, a lot of time you'll be the one advising the client whether it is even a data breach and then whether there's a need to actually notify. And then we're actually seeing that there are actually certain changes towards the kind of data breach, and then which is very true. It's getting more and more challenging, and then the complexity has really increased as well. So right now, Kai, we want to go back to the PDP Fundamental 101 because ultimately the data breach notification requirement is very new. It's only come into force effectively by 1st June. So right now we are only, I would say that the 3rd month in. And yet we already actually advise quite a handful of companies on data breach already. And yet, despite the advice that we have been giving out, a lot of companies, they have no idea that not all data breach will actually qualify, will actually meet the notification requirements. Some companies, they are still under this idea that all data breach, I must notify the PDPC, I must notify the data subjects. But under the law, that's not the case.
Yeah.
So in the case, Kai, can you maybe just briefly share in what situation a company would actually need to notify both the PDPC and also the data subjects, and also what are the legal consequences if they fail to comply with these important requirements?
Thanks for the question, Johnson. Before I even talk about what are the triggers for a notification requirement in relation to a personal data breach, I think we need to do a bit of refresher of what is a personal data breach. We've been talking about the terms again during this episode. Essentially, personal data breach as a term is defined in the Act.
Yeah.
I will not go into the detailed definition under the Act, but essentially it is when the personal data that is within your control, that is within your environment, has been exposed to third parties outside of the organization, who are not intended to receive or have access to these personal data. So, like what Prof has mentioned just now, it can be an outsider action, an external threat actors, right? Trying to infiltrate and compromise your system, then gain unauthorized access to the personal data. It can also be an insider job. Someone from within the organization sell out the personal data, right? And at the same time, it can be a combination of both, because external threat actors maybe will implement some form of social engineering, trick employees unknowingly share personal data out, right?
Happens.
So essentially, when you suffer a personal data breach, when do you have to notify the PDPC and also data subjects? The law provides a significant harm test. It's a combination of quantitative and qualitative threshold. Mainly qualitative. Essentially, if the extent of the personal data that is leaked, that is exposed, can cause, or rather likely to cause, again, I summarize, identity theft, or can be used for illegal purposes, can cause financial losses or harm to personal data, to the data subjects, or if the personal data leaked consists sensitive personal data, or they are of a significant scale in that more than 1,000 data subjects are impacted and affected under the personal data breach, then you will have a requirement or an obligation to notify the PDPC and or potentially data subjects as well. So what happened when a company fails to notify? The law in this case made it very, very clear. If you do not notify according to the requirement of the law, companies may be looking at up to 250,000 ringgit worth of fine. And I would say this is the worst part. Senior management and directors of the company may even face jail term of up to 2 years.
2 years.
Or potentially both. So you can see that the Act, based on the penalty that is being imposed here, the Act treats personal data breach very, very seriously. And as long as the thresholds are met, companies are expected to be taken to task and notify the relevant stakeholders accordingly.
Yeah, thanks, Kai. This is certainly a very severe offense because we are not only looking at financial penalty, we are looking at actual imprisonment terms just because there's a data breach and then you do not notify. The law does not penalize you just because there's a data breach, but the law will actually penalize you in the event there's a data breach that meets the significant harm threshold and yet you refuse to notify. So, Prof, really want to ask you this question. This is a topic, a very common question that actually both kind of receive all the time because actually we are the DPO. So a lot of time they'll be asking, actually, does the JPDP or the PDPC office, they even track or are they actually observing what is happening in the market? Because we actually heard this comment multiple times. So that is a very common comment because they say that for them, they don't even track, they don't even monitor. So is this a public myth or what is happening? So can you shed some light into this part, whether there's like some monitoring system, monitoring unit, and how do you want to respond to this kind of very common, at the same time, very dangerous comment made by some of the industry players?
Wow. It's a very difficult question to ask, basically. So, do we have monitoring units or not?
Yeah.
If you don't notify, do we know?
Yes,
Is
correct.
there any data breach happened
Yeah.
in the company? So, another myth. So, let me put this in this way. Based on my past experience,
Yeah.
in 2024, we have set up what we call it a cyber incident unit. And this unit is responsible to observe any data breaches through direct reports, through public complaints, to media coverage, or any tips from other regulator. So now we do have a unit that is dedicated to observe any data breach notification from outside. At the same time, we also have strengthening our collaboration effort with other cybersecurity agencies like NACSA, MyCerts under CSM, or MCMC as well. Basically, under this collaboration, we are meant to improve our surveillance initiative or coverage. So I would say that we do have a dedicated unit to observe, and we also collaborate with other external agencies to monitor any personal data transaction on the dark web.
Even on the dark web.
Yeah, we do have a team. If you don't report to Commissioner Office, so later we found out there is a breach in your company. So it will become a double jeopardy.
Yes, definitely.
So the first offense is not reporting the DBN. Second is the data breach. Okay, so there is a monitoring unit in our departments, in our office. And also we have constant communication with other agencies.
That's amazing. So to all the listeners, they are listening right now, and of course, of all the questions that we actually receive, whether PDP office, whether the JPDP, they even monitor. Right now, you have the answer. Answer is yes. So don't ever ask us the question again that if I don't notify, and then if I tell you to keep quiet, if I have a gap order, nothing will ever happen. Answer is no, because there is a very clear monitoring unit, and that you do not want to actually intentionally get into trouble as well. So right now for Kai, we really want to go a bit deeper. So let's say for a company, they want to comply. They know that there's a data breach, and then typically they'll engage a law firm. We will be coming in to make a legal assessment to see that whether they meet the significant harm threshold or not. So typically we will provide them a full-blown report. So let's say at the outcome of the report, they make it very clear by saying that, look, right now there is a clear significant harm, and our recommendation is you have to comply with the law. You have to notify. So can you also briefly tell us the protocols or even the SOP or the procedure, because it's a clear timeline for them to comply? Can you please run us through the whole process from end to end? Thank you.
Yes. So essentially, on the assumption that you have in hand
Mm.
a personal data breach, would warrant a notification to both the Personal Data Protection Commissioner and also the data subjects, right? We always tell the companies, you need to remember there are two key obligations here. It's not just one notification, but two notifications
Yeah.
to the PDPC and also to the data subjects. And you need to treat these two as, I would say, two separate stream of activities.
Yes.
So the first one, notification to the PDPC, it has to be done within 72 hours of detecting a breach. So essentially, when you know that there's a breach and then you engage a lawyer, the lawyer within a day, less than a day, we need to churn out the report already.
Yeah.
Then with the remaining hours, you need to make sure that you come up with reporting and a notification to the PDPC. PDPC very helpful. They have published a form for you to fill up, right?
Correct.
So that's where lawyer will assist the company to fill up the form, to fill in and provide the necessary information and the supporting documents to be submitted to the PDPC. Afterwards, then you will have a 7 days time frame to notify and update each of the data subjects impacted pursuant to the personal data breach of the incident. And again, what they need to be aware of, what is the extent of the breach, and what they can do to make sure that their harm is minimized, right? So essentially, there needs to be a coordinated effort. And we always tell the client to break this down into 4 steps. You always look at containment first. You need to contain a breach. After detecting a breach, right? Then you look into the impact. You do an impact assessment. You find out where is the root cause. You find out to what extent is the impact. And then at the same time, you try to implement patches in a sense, stopgap measures, and if possible, to recover. Then third would be where the reporting comes in. So this is where we talk about just now, reporting to the PDPC, reporting to the data subjects, and last but not least, post-incident action.
Postmortem.
You definitely need a postmortem to make sure that the same breach don't happen again, the same breach doesn't happen again. And what are the things that you can do to strengthen your cybersecurity posture in that case? Like I said just now, reporting is where lawyers are the most involved. We help with the drafting of the completion and the filling up of the form to the PDPC.
Yes.
We even help with the drafting of notifications to be sent to the data subjects.
Yes, correct.
Under the Act, the element that needs to go into the notices of to data subjects and also to PDPC are prescribed, are very clear. So lawyers will actually help you to make sure that all those requirements are being met in the notices.
Thank you so much, Kai, for the very clear, detailed explanation and also the structure. Because as we know that when it comes to PDP notifications, it is not subjective. You have to follow the strict timeline. Because when we are talking about data breach, we are talking about the actual legal, potentially fiduciary interest of the affected data subjects as well. So it's something that we know that the PDPC office, JPDP, they take it very seriously, especially based on our interactions with the office. So right now, Prof. Nazri, we would really want to see things from a different lens, from a different side of the table. So a lot of time, as mentioned by Kai, both Kai and I, we are the one advising the client. We are the one helping them to submit even the notification report. And then we know that the moment we notify, then the office will say, can you send us the forensic report? But we want to really understand a lot deeper by opening up the curtain. So let's say you, the office, the PDPC office, receive a notification. So actually what happened next? How do you investigate? How long will it take? The whole process, actually what happened? A lot of time for us, we are lawyers, so we can see things from one perspective, but we really want to know what happened from the other side of the room.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I will respond that I'm no longer with the Commission Office.
Understand.
Now I'm speaking from the alumni side of the table.
Yes.
Okay. So during my time there, I would say that the process is a well-structured process. And PDPA is a penal code law.
Yes.
So that means we are obligated to follow the procedures same with other enforcement agencies. This is not just checklist. It is a full legal process. So in general, when we receive a report, the public, we have what we call step by step. First, we will analyze do the initial analysis of the report itself,
Yeah.
whether the report is within our jurisdiction or not.
Mm.
If the report is beyond our jurisdiction, then normally we will advise the public to go to the respective agencies. So we don't just close there.
Yeah.
So we will advise them where to go. For example, for this particular report, you may forward this to MCMC, for example, or CSM, or NACSA, and so on.
Yeah.
Basically, these are the triage analysis that we have done first. After that, if the reports, within our jurisdiction, we will start do the initial investigation activities. The outcome of this activity, basically initial investigation report. In our perspective, we call it, inquiry papers.
Yeah.
Or a complaint report or instant file. So we appoint an IO or investigation officer. They are the one who handle that particular complaint. During this initial investigation, we may engage with third-party expert. For example, we may engage with the Cybersecurity Malaysia or maybe other cybersecurity experts to complete the first initial investigation report. So then, this initial investigation will be presented to Commissioner, and Commissioner will comment, will give his thought, and if everything is okay and acceptable, then we will conduct another level of investigation, which is we will conduct a full investigation activities.
Wow.
And the outcome of this activity will be a full investigation report. From enforcement agencies, we call it IP, investigation paper. Okay, after we complete the investigation paper, in this particular point of time, the IO must keep updating the Commissioner. So after finish completing the investigation papers, then Commissioner will read through and will endorse, or maybe the Commissioner requests more evidence and so on. Anyway, this is cyber incident. It's not a normal incident or physical incident. It's very difficult to manage the evidence.
Yes, definitely.
Especially the volatile evidence. So that's why sometimes we have to go back and forth.
Yes, multiple
just
times.
to make sure that the investigation is complete. Later, the Commissioner will send the reports to AGC.
Yes.
To get approval. From AGC. So all complaints will not be equally entertained or called treated. Because there is a simple case, simple complaint. We can finish it up around more or less 3 months. But for complex case, it may go beyond a year.
So a simple one about 3 months, or a severe one can even go up to a year even more.
So it depends on the case itself. For more serious case, we may engage with third-party expert from cybersecurity or any appointed cybersecurity expert firms. So again, it is not an easy task. If you still remember, in our last episode, I did mention about our Ops Kapas.
Yes.
We jointly organized with PDRM, Royal Malaysia Police, and also Cybersecurity Malaysia to charge the individual where we suspected illegally selling a personal data on the dark web. That was our first case in the country.
Thank you so much, because I think that's right now we really get to see what happened within, because a lot of time for our clients, they got a shock when we tell them that the whole investigation process will take easily 3 to 6 months, even a simple one, especially right now after knowing actually how comprehensive the whole investigation is. So no one should ever treat data breach notifications lightly anymore. I think right now we already have a very clear idea and how severe the whole data breach notification it can be and how important it is. So right now, Prof, before we end this episode, so assuming we are able to get really one last piece of advice. So right now, a company, they know that data breach has happened already, and then they really want to notify, but they do not know actually how they're supposed to go about it. They do not know who are they supposed to notify. They don't even know what is considered a well-managed data breach notification process. So in the case, how would you actually advise to the audience that are listening to this episode right now?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Basically, in the event of any data breach occurs, so the company should know what to do.
Yeah.
For example, they need to know which regulatory body that they should report to. Is it NACSA?
Yes.
Is it Bank Negara Malaysia? Or is it JPDP?
Yeah.
Or is it MCMC?
Yeah.
So they need to know which regulatory body that they should report to.
Definitely.
Second, they need to understand the DBN procedure for each regulatory bodies. For example, NACSA, 6 hours after
Yes.
data breach. For JPDP or for Commissioner Office, 72 hours. They need to know the procedure for them to respond. And last but not least is we are expecting the company to give their full commitments, cooperation during the investigation conducted by the regulatory body. Don't panic, don't hide, don't delay. Respond clearly, honestly, and quickly.
Wow.
That's why I always say the best times to prepare is not after the breach, but before the breach.
Before the breach.
Build the muscle memory, tabletop exercise, cyber drills, clear breach response plans.
That is really the most important part. So this is why we always advocate for data breach simulations so that the company can be prepared for that. So as we are coming to an end to our very special edition exclusive Malaysia PDPA Authority Series, where we are featuring none other than the legendary Prof Nazri. So Prof, as we are coming to an end, and I'm sure that all the audience have enjoyed as much as we produce these very special episodes, this very special series. So what would your final sentence or your final advice to the audience that is actually listening to this very special edition?
Thank you very much. My last advice is start small, start smart, and start now.
Thank you so much for listening to our Legal Insight podcast produced by AHQ. And we really cannot emphasize enough how grateful and how honored, especially how privileged we are to actually have Prof Nazri and also Kai joining us in these very special editions in our Malaysia PDPA Authority Series. And if you are listening to our podcast, we really want to say thank you for supporting us throughout the whole time. And in the next episode, don't worry, I know that your favorite host, Zach, will be back because no one can ever replace the best video director, the best host ever. So see you again, and please give us a follow, a share, and most importantly, give us a like. Thank you very much and see you very soon.